is not so much thinking of these three states as the Mandukya Upanishad came to highlight. So the examination of the three states, three distinct states, is not a cup of tea for Nagarjuna. It is not his cup of tea. So he brands all these three states as belonging to one genre, one uniform. But the Upanishads, both Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka, take this up as an important issue. And Mandukya Upanishad focuses its attention on this. And Gaudapada starts from this source. So the examination of the three states, which the Upanishads took up, is, as it were, not the Upanishads. I would say Gaudapada. I would say Gaudapada and Shankara is to follow up where Nagarjuna stopped. Nagarjuna, in spite of his dialectic and in spite of his negative orientation, was positive in so far as saying that this consciousness is shunya in the sense that you can never analyze it, you can never apprehend it. So that's the very focus of his dialectic. His dialectic is that you can't know his epistemological impossibility. So you can't know it because you can't segregate the subjective aspect from the objective aspect. How can you know? Knowing involves a duality. Knowing always involves a duality. There is an object to be known and you know it, and this duality is synchronized, is rendered into a unity. When you know, you say, I know this object. That is when you have assimilated the object into yourself. But to start with, there is a duality. Unless there is a duality, you can't assimilate it. The question of assimilation does not come unless there is. This is again a tantric view. In the Tantra, Prakasha and Vimarsha are two aspects of consciousness. Sharda Tilaka and Uttaramnaya Tantra. In Tantra, they make much of these two expressions. The light and the shedding of the light. Chandra Chandrika Yoriva. Chandra is the moon. Chandrika is the moonlight. So this Prakasha and Vimarsha, this is like the moon and the moonlight. There can't be moonlight without the moon. But you can't see the moon without the moonlight. The moon is altogether unknown to you unless through the moonlight. The moon is Prakasha. The moonlight is Vimarsha. So there is a process of knowing. There is an epistemological process by means of which the existence is apprehended. So or else the existence is not apprehended at all. It does not become an epistemological issue.
So the meta-epistemology is
so this is what Nagarjuna attempts to do. So he says this consciousness is there, but it is impossible to know it. He does not deny the existence of consciousness, but he says this existence cannot be analyzed, cannot be comprehended, cannot be known, cannot be pointed out as this. In this sense it is shunya. Shunya in the sense of guna shunya. It has no attributes, it has no qualities by which you can identify it. So by shunya Nagarjuna does not mean it does not exist. Consciousness does exist, but it is impossible to know. This is what Nagarjuna stops at. And in this position, so Nagarjuna, he does not see much of a difference between wakefulness, dream and sleep.
Why bother?
Why bother? All these three states are alike unknowings. You don't know at all. Only when you recognize that these states don't exist really, do you know. This is shunyat shunyatamam. So from one shunya you should pass to another shunya, which is mahashunya. This basic consciousness is mahashunya. Wakefulness, dream and sleep, they are shunyas. So Nagarjuna takes this view. He takes the epistemological impossibility of knowing consciousness. So whatever you try to know of consciousness during wakefulness is bound to lead you to the pros and cons. So you can't escape dialectic conflict. So your attempt to know consciousness itself involves a dialectic conflict. Like the horns of a dilemma. You can't see. So Nagarjuna's shunya is to negate the validity of these three states in their independent status. But the Upanishads, they take this stand, it is an epistemological possibility also. It's not as if the consciousness can't be known at all. Consciousness could be experienced. And experiencing is a kind of knowing.
This is the 17th, 18th century debate in the Western world about rationalism versus empiricism.
No. Empiricism and idealism. The Bhakti, yes, Swami? There I'm not quite sure if it is
Anything.
so rationalism.
Basically, that argument in rationalism versus empiricism is, empiricists like Locke, etc., would say
Yeah.
that a thing can only be experienced. Whereas the rationalists will hold that only by a process of thought, which and dialectic therefore would form an important part of it, can you apprehend conceptually either an object or an idea. Where the empiricists would say that is not necessarily true or that is not correct. The standpoint would be that you can only experience.
Hume especially.
Hume
especially.
Is an empiricist. He was a guru of the empiricists.
Yes. So, this is very much like the Saguna and Nirguna Brahman of Shankara.
Nagarjuna versus the Gaudapada.
So Shankara tries to reconcile the two.
One slight deviation. So Gaudapada is the establisher of the Kaule Mutt?
No. Gauda is the name of the province, Bengal. Bengal is called Gauda. So Gaudiya, Madhusudana, Gaudiya. So Gaudiya is an adjectival form added, like Kashmir. And so Gaudiya is Bengal. So this Gaudapada was a teacher from Bengal.
But he didn't
Gaudiya Mutt also is Gauda, Bengal.
He's not nothing to do with that.
Nothing. So not much is known about Gaudapada.
In this my wife's community's books, they say that the Kaule Mutt was established by Gaudapada, who was the guru of Shankara, etc., etc. I'm sorry, this was something.
Conjecture.
It just occurred.
We don't know anything about Gaudapada. The Sringeri Mutt says that Shankara's teacher was one Govinda and Govinda's teacher was Gaudapada on the banks of the Narmada, but we don't find any reference in Shankara's works to either Govinda or Gaudapada. We don't know. But the point of interest is the Nagarjuna school, which is also reflected very much in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The stand taken in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is very much like Nagarjuna's position, where there is an impossibility of knowing. All your efforts will succeed only in annulling the objectivity of consciousness, empirical vacuity. So Nagarjuna would say that the world would cease to exist. There is an empirical vacuity, and then you experience this consciousness as a bodhi or an enlightenment. This is the Zen. Zen people took this over. So their satori or enlightenment is an unknowing. It is not knowing, it's an unknowing. It's so bodhir abodhiriti. So this bodhi is called actually abodhi. Like yoga being viyoga. This bodhi is actually abodhi. So you call it bodhi because that is the nearest you can reach nirvana. But this same view is reflected in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where they experience these three states and as dream as passing between the two banks, etc., etc. But Chandogya, which is nearer to Shankara's view, it says that this is one aspect of apprehending consciousness. This is Prajnana Ghana. Prajnana Ghana is a mass of consciousness which has an objective character. So Shankara identifies Prajnana Ghana with sleep. In sleep, you don't see the subject and the object because you are Prajnana Ghana. You are a mass of consciousness where the subjective aspect and the objective aspect are reconciled. But there is a state beyond these three, which these people say here. And Gaudapada says this also. Shankara, he says it is not something that you can know in the sense of knowing. It is an experience, anubhuti, anubhava. Bhu is to become. Bhava is the karaka, causative form of it. So that which causes you to be is bhava. And anubhava is after, anu is paschat, anantaram. Anantaram of what? After knowing. After an epistemological perfection, this is negated. This is not mere negation. You should go through this entire epistemological process. You should go through the dialectic. So you should go through the whole way Nagarjuna went. And then suddenly you find that there is another side of the mountain. This is Anubhava. This is not what you can reach without dialectic. It is meta-dialectic. So Shankara's distinction between Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma is this. So he is an epistemological possibility. But there comes a stage when it's an epistemological vacuity. So Shankara is trying to reconcile the Chandogya Upanishad with the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Or in other words, Nagarjuna with Gaudapada. So this aspect of Shankara's syncretistic view that has not been recognized properly. So people call him Prachana Bauddha, crypto-Buddhist and do away with it. Or he follows Gaudapada. But the real merit of Shankara's work is he reconciled the two views of consciousness, Brahma, Saguna and Nirguna. Saguna Nirguna. So, Dve Brahmani Vejitavye. So he starts with saying that there are two Brahmans to be known. The consciousness that comes to you as a desideratum of dialectics in Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna leaves it as an open end. He is interested in taking you through that epistemological crisis and show that you can't see no consciousness by this at all. If you can't know consciousness by these, it's Shunya. Shunya is that which is not amenable to your perception, that which is not within your comprehension. It is Shunya. It is as if it does not exist for you. It does not exist. He does not say it does not exist by itself. It does not exist for you, that is Shunya. And it does not exist for any of the apprehenders. It does not exist for apprehension at all. That is Mahashunya. But that is existence. Shunya is an existence. Shunya is not a negation. Only Nagarjuna emphasizes this point, Nirvishesha. And Shankara uses the very word for Brahma, Nirvishesha Brahma. So Shankara has taken a leaf from Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna's Nirvishesha Shunya, he calls it Nirvishesha Brahma. Brahma is Nirvishesha. Brahma, from the point of view of the world, or in other words, from the point of view of the three states, Avastha Traya, is Saguna Brahma. Because wakefulness is identified with Sattva, dream is identified with Rajas, and sleep is identified with Tamas. So Nirguna means he is beyond these three gunas. Nirguna, Nihi is not the absence, but beyond. Uttaravityarthaha. Nirguna is not devoid of gunas, beyond the gunas. What Bhagavad Gita calls Gunatita.
What the Samkhya also tries to do.
Sankhya also tries to do the thing. So Shankara's Nirguna Brahma or Nirvishesha Brahma is the consciousness that is beyond these three states, which Gaudapada takes us through in his Karika. Gaudapada takes this view in his Karika. So this text, curiously, it's a very syncretistic text. I was charmed by this because it contains a whole lot of ideas all fused together well. It's a sort of a mosaic which makes things. So they say, Tritaya Bhokta Vireshaha Sattvam Rajas Tamascheti Tritayam Guna Samudnyetam. Which are Jagrata, Swapna and Sushupti, which are identified as Jnanam, Vikalpa and Aviveka. They are only these three gunas. Sattvam Rajas Tamascheti Tritayam Guna Samudnyetam Avasthanugunam Tadhi Swaswarupat Udeti Alam. But where is the ground for each of these states? He says this one consciousness is the ground for all three. Udeti, they come up. So Jagrat comes out of this consciousness, Swapna comes out, the sleep, deep sleep comes out. Swaswarupat. Swa is one's own, inalienable. It can't be removed from him. So this is interwoven with existence. Swa Swarupat Udeti Alam. So these three states are not distinct from that consciousness, but they are projected out of it. They are arms or extensions of this consciousness. Achadakam Pashunam Tatsthitestu Vibho Punaha Sarvanusyuta Rupastvat Swarupachadanam Natat. When there is wakefulness, dream and sleep, the experience of any of these three states, or each one of these three states, because the common view is you can't experience these three states simultaneously or together. Whereas the previous sutra said, even in wakefulness you can dream. Even in wakefulness, when you don't have any objective extension, you could be called sleeping. So there is Jagrat, Swapna, Jagrat, Sushupti. Even so in Swapna, and so in Sushupti. So these three states are not truncated, not fragmented. So this is another contribution of the Kashmir Shaiva to the examination of the three avasthas. Because in none of the Advaitic texts you get this view, that even in wakefulness, so consciousness is one, and any extension thereof which involves a duality, subject-object, hides the stream of consciousness. This is avaraka. Achchadakam pashunam. For the common people, the experience is limited to either wakefulness or dream or sleep. Achchadakam. When you are wakeful, you can't experience consciousness. You can experience only the objects of consciousness. And you are a pramatru. You are the perceiver, which Shankara labors hard in his Adhyasa Bhashya to dispute, to refute. So he said pramatrutva, a knowerhood, is linked up with this state of wakefulness. The consciousness is not pramatru at all. Your knowerhood is when the objects are presented to you. When the objects are not presented to you, you are not a knower at all. Knower is in relation to the known. Prameyadhinam pramatrutvam. Unless there is an object outside, how can you call yourself a knower? You know the object. You can't be simply a knower. So that is an impossibility, which the phenomenologists also say. You can't say consciousness. Consciousness of what? Consciousness of something. So consciousness can't be by itself. So Shankara makes this point. In his Adhyasa Bhashya, he makes this point and says, when you say pramatru, you automatically assume vyavahara, transaction. There is a transactionality which is implied in the knowerhood, in the subjectivity of the self. When you say, I know this world, I as the perceiver see the world as perceived. So Shankara says that's a transaction. And this vyavahara can't be one-sided. It must have two arms, two poles. It's a bipolar relationship. So his Adhyasa Bhashya, he makes a very sensible point. He says, Pramatra is the creature of transactionality. Take away the transaction, there is no Pramatra at all. So what is that consciousness in the Paramartha, in the ultimate state? That is not Pramatra at all. So the real duality is between Prajnana as such and Pramatra, subjective ego, and the consciousness which is basic. So when you say, Aham Brahmasmi, this is to identify the Pramatrutva with the Prajnana. Aham is the Pramatra. Brahma is this Nirvishesha Brahma, this consciousness, which is unrelated to the states of existence. So, the basis of this is that can't exist without this. Aham Brahma Asmi. So when you are a Brahman, this Aham disappears automatically. So Shankara is trying to point out that there is a realm of duality. This duality is not between you and the world. The real duality is between the Prajnana and the Pramatra. Your ego and consciousness, that's the real duality. So Shankara labors hard to show that there is an identity, that Pravatrutva is really your Prajnana. So this is not the Dvaita of the Prakriti and the Purusha. It is the Dvaita of the Pramatru and So that's what Adhyasavarsya deals with. So this is in continuation of Nagarjuna's argument. So Nagarjuna, when he points out his distinction between Mahashunya and Shunya, this is actually what he means. And he uses the word Nirvishesha, which Shankara takes up with zest. So Nirvishesha is Shankara's fond expression. So that's from Nagarjuna. Now here they point out that whenever you are a knower, you are hiding your consciousness. In grammar, in Sanskrit grammar especially, this expression aham and the verb asmi or tvam asi, saha asti. So in normal language, they must be explicitly stated. I am. But in Sanskrit, while you can say aham asmi, it is not necessary at all. Aham naraha, I am a man. Aham martyaha, I am mortal. You need not say asmi. Aham naraha asmi. Aham naraha is automatically a transactional identity. Aham, tvam mudhaha, you are a fool. You need not say tvam mudhaha asi. Asi you can omit. You can say, no harm. It is not wrong. But you need not say. And in grammar there is always a rule. The unnecessary word should not be introduced. So therefore, aham asmi, you need not say that. Aham means asmi. Or asmi implies aham. So this is the philosophical debate of this prajnana and pramatra. Prajnana and Vakyapadiya takes this up. Bhartrahari, in his Vakyapadiya, it's a linguistic analysis, he takes this up. He takes up this issue and argues at length the relationship between the pronoun and the verb. Like aham, tvam, he, sa, etc. And the verbal modes like asmi, asi, asti, and so on. And this involves the tenses, the lakaras, the past, the future, the present. So where the Vakyapadiya is a very interesting text. And recently there is a translation into English which is fairly good. K.A. Subramanya Iyer. K.A. Subramanya Iyer. He is from Trivandrum. He has translated the Vakyapadiya, the first Kanda, what's called Brahma Kanda, into English. It is a very good translation. So where this problem occurs again, and in fact, the author of this Vakyapadiya, Bhartrahari, he is supposed to be the first Advaitini, not Shankara. He was in the 5th century. 5th century, Bhartrahari. So he was Anadini Dhanam Brahma, Shabda Tattva. Shabda Tattva, the Shabda is expressiveness. Anadini Dhanam Brahma, that consciousness was immemorial, timeless. Out of this, the world comes out. Jagat Vivartate. He uses the word Vivarta, which is Shankara's Vivartavada. Jagat Prakriya Vivartate Asmat. The transactional world emerges from consciousness. So it is this which first makes a distinction between the pramatra or the transactional ego and the consciousness, which is basic or fundamental. The sleep state is not equivalent to the mukti state, because in the sleep state there is only the lapse of this pramatra. It is not the assumption of the Nirvishesha Brahma at all. So when you are in sleep, you are not in samadhi.
So which is a neat argument.
It's so the three states alike are guna, saguna. Like as they say,
Yes.
Sattvam rajas namascheti tridayam guna samvidam. So the saguna consciousness is the consciousness which you can experience. It is prameya. And therefore, by inference, you are the pramatra. So Bhartrahari points out that when you perceive an object, the object is more important than your subject. You don't have the feeling, I perceive this object. You have, on the other hand, tadasti. That object is there. If somebody asks you who is seeing that object, then you say, I am seeing that object. So this is not the ab initio experience. This is a reflected experience. So this is what Bhartrahari calls vimarsha or paramarsha. So you say, like sleeping. When you sleep soundly, you don't have that experience in the wakeful state. It's gone. But when somebody asks you, how did you sleep? You say, I slept well. So this I slept well is a paramarsha. That's not in your experience now. That was not in the pramatra's experience during sleep either. Because that pramatra got lost. The pramatrutva was not there when he was sleeping. So how can you say, I slept, I am sleeping? When the pramatrutva is regained, you could say, I slept well. You recall that you slept well. Aham sukham asvapsam. Because nakinchid avedisham, there was nothing that was to be known. When the prameya was not there, pramatrutva couldn't exist. Pramatrutva could exist only when the prameya is there. When the prameya is not there, how could there be a pramatrutva?
I should say Malay slept well.
So and so. Like some of these, Kannada Ramdas, he used to refer to him always in the third person. So he is going, he is coming. He means referring to himself. But they make a point, this pramatrutva hides the prajna. Achadakam vashunam tatsvasthitestu vibho punaha. You are negating, as it were, your normal original state. The Zen people ask, what was your original face? The koan, one of the favorite koans is, what was your original face? Now you have a face which I could see, which everybody could see, which could be photographed, which could be reflected in the mirror. But what was your original face? Which could be seen, which could be reflected, which could be photographed, which could be objectified. You see, swasthitehe achara. The original state is gone. The transactional state has come in. When you are transacting, when you are involved in the transactional world, your original self is not there. Achadakam pashunam swasthitestu vibho punaha sarvanusyutarupatvat swarupachadanam natat. But you can't say it is hidden, it is completely masked or forgotten, because sarva anusyutarupatvat, you don't experience them as totally isolate. You pass from dream to wakefulness, from wakefulness to sleep, from sleep to wakefulness, as if it's a continuity. Sarva anusyuta rupatva. Anusyuta is sewn together, knit together. So these three states are not experienced as isolated states. They are all experienced as one after the other. Shankara also makes this point in his Brihadaranyaka Bhashya. The three avasthas, they are not distinct, they are not isolated. One is like telescope. Each is telescoped into the other. Sarvanupyuda rupatvat swarupachhadanam nadat. Every state you experience is also an experience of that state. Don't forget that you have cut yourself asunder from the prajnana. Every pramatru is a prajnana in reality. So there is a masking, at the same time there is a prakasha. So this is their basic position with regard to prakasha and vimarsha, light and the illumination, like Chandra Chandrikayoriva, like the moon and the moonlight. That basic consciousness, prajnana, is there, out of which these jnanas, avastha jnanas, come into being. Pramatrutva comes into being. Pramatrutva is like the moonlight. This prajnana is the moon. So how can you say, I am in moonlight, I am not in moon? You can't say that at all. But the moonlight is not the moon. But the moonlight can't be without the moon. And the moon can't be apprehended without the moonlight. This is their prakasha vimarsha argument. So you say, at the same, there is an achadaka, there is not an achadaka. Itthamevam gunaspanda nishyam dinam cha chidvapuhu bhokta svikaranat prokta prasarasya viputvadaha. Now, this spanda doctrine starts. They say, the three states that we have experienced is only a spanda, vibration. So this consciousness vibrates, and the vibrations are identified as wakeful, dreaming and sleeping, asleep. So gunaha, gunaspanda nishyamdanam chidvapuhu. This vibration, they call it spanda or vibration because in every act of vibration there is an ongoing and there is a back coming. There is a coming back. Like the beaching, like the waves of the ocean. They come out of the waters and get back to the waters. Unless there is a getting back also, there is no spanda. So when prajnana emerges as pramatra, it also gets back. So in every act of experience you have the prajnana. While you are a pramatra, the prajnana also is experienced. This is gunaspanda nishyanda. It emanates and comes back, assimilated back. So the entire world is like the waves coming out of the ocean. Waves come out and get back. So this is how one who sees this as an act of going out and coming back, he is the bhokta. Bhokta is the enjoyer, or in other words, percipient, or in Shankara's language, pramatru. So bhokta svikaranat proktaha. The pashu, the normal man, not common man, empirical, he only sees the coming out of the wave. He does not see the going back of the wave into the ocean. And he is a bhokta svikaranat proktaha prasarasya vibhutvataha. Prasara is coming out, stretching, extension. So the normal people see only the extension of consciousness into the pramatrutva. They don't perceive that this pramatra goes back to the prajnana. Atayeva hi viresha swaprakashaika vrittidaha. This vira, as against the pashu, he is called a vira, heroic, because he can get above these three states and stand on a higher level, stand at a higher level. He can view all these three states not from the point of view of his ego involvement, but a perceiving from prajnana. He has gone to the prajnana level and perceives the pramatru as going out and coming back, going out and coming back. This is Tritaya Bhokta. He is beyond these three states. While he is engaged, involved in these three states, he knows that he is really prajnana. His pramatrutva is only a make-believe, as if a Vaihinga, as if it is the pramatru, but as if it is the prajnana. But pramatru is not the prajnana at all. So, he atayeva hi vireshaha ye swaprakashaika vrittitaha yevam marichi nichayo gunatraya samudbhava. Marichi is the light, or it also means the way. So marichi nichayaha, the mass of the light rays emanating from the moonlight. Marichi nichayaha gunatraya samudbhavaha. These have arisen because of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. So the entire transactional perspective is basically a construction of three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. And one who experiences this is the pramatru or the pashu in their language, in the Kashmir Shaiva language. It is the pashu where there is no chit samavesha, or the unified view is not there. So he has not the ability to see these three states together. When I am awake, I can't dream. When I am dreaming, I can't be awake. When I am sleeping, I can't be awake or dreaming. So a pashu can experience only one state at a time. But this Viresha, or one who has identified himself with the prajnana, he can see all these three states together. Or in other words, tatra vigrasa kradyasva tena vireshvara smrutaha jagatyasmin vamanagrasa tatparaha. This Viresha is a technical expression. This is derived from the root va. Va is to vomit. Vomit. Va, vamane. Vamana is vomiting. In Bengali also this vamana virechana. And so this it's as if he knows that he is now awake, he is now dreaming, he is now asleep. These are coming out of him. Vamana. Therefore he is called a Viresha. So he knows that he is vomiting these three states. Three states don't exist independently or separately, but they are out of him. Vaikalpike jagatyasmin. In this world, which is merely a construction of himself. Jagatyasmin vamanagrasa tatparaha tatrapi grasakrityasmat tasmat tena vireshvara smrtaha. Viresha is bheda. This bheda or duality, the bheda between the three states, this he can experience, paramarsha. Or there is another word, vimarshana. So this vimarshana is getting beyond these three states and perceiving these three states as mere extensions of the prajnana. This is the position that Gaudapada also takes. So his turiya or chaturiya is this state, where the consciousness itself undergoes this modification as wakefulness, dream, and this. But further, it's not only vimarshana, but anubhava. When the duality is lost, there is a peculiar happiness that comes to you. Happiness involves unity and not duality. What you experience by eating something delicious, that is not ananda at all. That's called by a more limited expression sukha. Jihva sukha. The palate is delighted. But the final enjoyment is ananda. That he experiences is Viresha because he perceives the entire world as one uniform rasa samavesha. Therefore he is anandita. So this jnana, this knowledge of the prasupti, of the prajnana, which is also existential, fundamental existence, this has a natural implied ananda. So the sat, chit, ananda, this ananda is the anubhava. Chit is the vimarshana. Sat is the positive existence. That which is experienced and you are delighted. Is ananda. So this Viresha is one who enjoys the three states. Sukha and dukkha are dualities. They are also called chamatkara. Chamatkara is at once all duality is relieved and he is happy or blissful. So this Pashu can't have this experience, vimarshana and anubhava. A Pashu or the common man is distinguished by the absence of seeing the three states together and being beyond these three states and enjoying the three states. So this Viresha is distinguished by prajnana ananda. Yoga bhumika vismaya, wonderment.
That is also very important.
Yes.
But this, he has now introduced the vibration theory.
Yes.
In the 12th.
So there is discussion about this 11th sutra. Kritaya bhokta vireshaha. We were doing that. And this viresha is vir virane, from the root to lord over, to superintend. So he is called Viresha because he has a lordship over the indriyas. Indriyanam adhishwaro vireshwara. So he has a control over the instruments. But he is distinguished from the Pashu or the Laukika or the common mundane man who passes through the three states, wakefulness, dream and deep sleep, each in isolation. This Viresha experiences these three states together because he passes beyond these three states and he is in the Turiya state. So in the Turiya state, he can see all these three states together. So this is a very important concept in Kashmir Shaivism. We don't have it in Vedanta. In Vedanta, Turiya, in Mandukya for example, this Turiya is considered the Ardhamatra. Ardhamatra is a state as well, not a state. The other three states are the matras, Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. This Turiya is in one sense a state, but in another sense it is not a state at all. It is the state that's common to the three states. So the yogi who is in the Turiya state will be able to pass through these states without any vikara or disturbance or change. But the Kashmir Shaiva, this Siva Sutras, it says, this Vireshwara is Tritaya Bhokta Viresha, Tritayaha Samuchitena Bhokta. He experiences them at the same time. So he does not leave that state when he is wakeful, when he is dreaming, when he is asleep. So the three gunas don't affect him. He is what the Bhagavad Gita would call gunatita. He has passed beyond the gunas. And now they say, Sattvam rajastamescheti tritayam gunasamgnitam avasthanugunam tadhi swaswarupadudetyalam. This is a new concept insofar as we are concerned. We, with the Sankhya and Vedanta are concerned. They say, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, they are characteristics of the wakefulness, dream and sleep state. They say avasthanugunam tadhi. So wherever the sattva is there, know that to be wakeful. Wherever swapna is there, creation and dream, know that to be rajas. And wherever the two are not there, the moha is there, that is tamas. Now in Sankhya as well as the Sankhya system has been taken over by Vedanta, continuum. So the three states, the three gunas are together occurring in all phenomena, beings as well as movements. So these three occur together. There is no pure sattva, no pure rajas and no pure tamas. So all the phenomena occur in a mishrita bhavena. In different proportions they mix. So when we speak of the guna, guna is the rope wherein three strands have been interwoven. So Sankhya does not speak of one guna. When they say it's a guna, the other two gunas also are there. When you speak of sattva, rajas and tamas also are there. But the sattva is in the utkarsha, in preeminence. So there can be no guna in isolation. So therefore in wakefulness, in dream or in deep sleep, the three gunas are there. One guna predominates. And Sankhya or Vedanta does not even specify the three gunas for these three states. So they don't say wakefulness is sattva, dream is rajas and sleep is tamas. They don't say that at all. But these people, Kashmir Shaiva people say, avasthanugunam tadhi, it's called a guna because it follows the avasthas. It's a new interpretation which is very significant. Avasthanugunam tadhi swaswarupadudetyalam. So avasthanuguna, if it is wakeful, it is sattva. If it is dream, it is rajas. If it is tamas, it is sleep, deep sleep. And they say sattva is wakeful, rajas is dreaming, and tamas is the absence of these. So that's to say, the three avasthas function wherever the gunas are, in the overweening position that they take. So they are not confined to our wakefulness, our dream and our sleep. The concept of being wakeful, the concept of dreaming and concept of sleep. So therefore they have a sevenfold classification of sattva, rajas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva, Rajas, Rajas. Sattva, Tamas, Tamas. So in each moment of our experience, we are either wakeful, dreaming, or in deep sleep. So we call the course of occurrences as wakeful only by courtesy. Aupacarikameva. So the three states don't occur in mutual exclusion. They are not exclusive states. You might be dreaming while you are awake. You might be asleep while you are awake. And you might be awake while you are dreaming. You might be asleep while you are dreaming. And likewise in sleep, you might be awake while you are sleeping. The alpha rhythm. Alpha rhythm in sleep is wakeful sleep. And then there is the dreaming sleep. Then there is the sleep, which is the deepest sleep, what you call the Gada Nidra. So this is a very important concept. Avasthanugunam tadhi swaswarupad udetyalam. So just as the day and night are mere constructs, there is no such thing as a day and a night. When we can transact in a particular manner, we call it day. When we can transact in a different manner, we call it night. But actually there is no diurnal variation. Speaking from an overall position, because we are on earth, because the sun acts with regard to the earth. When the earth faces the sun, we call it the day. When the earth is away from the sun, we call it the night. But these people say the sun and the earth are together enclosed in the, bracketed in this one reality. So there can't be any day and night for that reality. The sun, in relation to the earth, is a phenomenal occurrence. There is not a nominal occurrence. So there is not Paramartha, it is Vyavahara. So in Vyavahara we say Divaratri, night and day. So also we say that it is wakeful, dreaming or sleep. Just as we say a young man, a youth, a child, a youth, an old man, etc. These are all Vyavaharika perceptions. So these don't refer to one reality at all. So if an individual can take up that standpoint and view the entire thing as objective, as external to himself, then he becomes Tridaya Bhokta Viresha. It's a very significant concept. Chidghana Swatma Vijnana Paramananda Nirbharaha Viresho Yena Viranam Bheda Grasanakarinam Antar Bahir Visaratam Indriyanam Adhishvara. So he says, Chidghanaha is a mass of consciousness. Ghana is unpierced, unbroken mass of consciousness. Swatma Vijnana Paramananda Nirbharaha. He is full of the happiness that comes out of himself. Swatma Paramananda Nirbharaha. Swatma is his own self, which is now identical with reality. And this reality is absolute happiness because there is no other thing to contend with, to fear. Ekaki, ekaki, when one is alone, there is no fear for him. Dvitiya, he is there. So the Upanishad says, Dvitiya dvai bhayam bhavati. Fear occurs from a second being. When one is oneself, one does not fear. And where fear is not there, happiness is there. Nirbhayaha, Nishankaha, Anandapurna. So Ananda here is, there is no contending entity at all. He is one. And he has identified himself with that one. Svatma Paramananda Nirbharaha Yena Veeresho Veeranam Veda Grasanakarinam. The sense organs, they structure the world. They make the world into a many-pronged facet of colors, shapes, sounds, etc., etc. These are contributed by the Indriyas. He has lorded over the Indriyas means he does not recognize the fragmentation caused by the Indriyas. He can view the whole thing as one. Veda grasanakarinam antarbahir nissaratam indriyanam. There are the sense organs that go out, that reach out to the objective world, and there are perceptions that go in. So he is beyond both of them. Antarbahir nissaratam. This is a thought which we don't find in the textual tradition of Vedanta proper. The textual tradition of the Vedanta as in the 10 Upanishads. Ishakena, Katha, Prasna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Itariya, Brihadaranyaka, Chandogya. So this is the basic material for the Vedanta. But there is an extension in the other 108 Upanishads. The same thought in different ways. And these are largely Yoga Upanishads, Sankhya Upanishads, and then Tantra Upanishads, and then the Darshana Upanishads. There are 4. Apart from these 10, the others are Yoga, Tantra, Sankhya, and Darshana Upanishads. So in the Tantra and the Yoga Upanishads, they take the Vedanta framework as the starting point and they deal in 3 Upanishads, Yoga Shikhopanishad, Avadhuta Upanishad, and Mahopanishad. They deal with the thoughts which are very similar to Kashmir Shaivism, what we have. So this concept of Viresha, this concept of Daya, they are very much dealt with in those 3 Upanishads. And also in other Upanishads, principally in these Upanishads. There Avadhuta Upanishad is a short Upanishad. Where Mahopanishad is a long Upanishad of 6 chapters and about 500 slokas. They are obviously later. There is no question that they are as antique as the Brihadaranyaka. They are later. But they contain the quintessence of the Vedantic thought as influenced by the Yoga, Tantra, etc., etc. So there is a large amount of Shaiva influence in these Upanishads, especially Kashmir Shaiva. And the viewpoint projected here is same thing as the Mahayana says, and Nagarjuna would say, Vyavahara and Nirvana are one. Samvrti and Nirvana are not different at all. So these Upanishads also say Paramartha and Vyavahara are one. You can't distinguish between Paramartha and Vyavahara. So therefore, these the touch me not attitude of the Vedas does not hold at all. So Veda falls off as easily as your cloak falls off. So they point out that the reality is one, Ekam Satu. But this reality can't be experienced independent of the unreal projections. For example, you can't realize yourself apart from your body. You have to realize it only through the body. through your mind. There is no other way. Even the older Upanishads say, Manasa Veditavyo. It is the mind which must give you this knowledge of the self, this experience of the self.
This would be various forms of solipsism.
Solipsism. Yeah, right. So, they point out that the Atman, who is beyond speech, beyond description, beyond thought and beyond conjecture, he is not